Peace and blessings of Allah be upon you, dear viewers, and welcome to your program Fatawa. Today we have consacred our program to a very important topic, which is marriage in Islam, the importance of marriage in Islam, the couple in Islam, how to choose your spouse, how to treat your spouse, and how to deal with our affairs within the couple. Plenty of questions that we are going to answer during this episode, but allow me first to welcome our guest, Dr. Sami Mandoor, professor at Al-Azhar University. Welcome, Dr. Sami. Let's start talking about the importance of marriage in Islam. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His messenger, His family, and His faithful companions. Marriage is very important in our life, and the marriage institution is an urgent thing and essential in our life, because it's from marriage and because of marriage that our life is going to continue until Allah, glory to Him, decides of the Day of Judgment, because it facilitates reproductivity. Here you are, through this marriage, establishing a life in order for humankind to remain on this earth until Allah decides of the Day of the Judgment. As Muslims, when we talk about marriage, for us as Muslims, it's a way, it's a legitimate way and licit way to satisfy our sexual needs. Islam is not a religion that aspires to sexual needs alone or spirituality alone, but it tries to combine between this spirituality and our desires as humans. If you prevent a human to satisfy his needs, he or she cannot live normally. Our instincts are essential to us to be satisfied. That's why we need to fulfill these needs. And also, in order to answer certain end goals of our religion, one of the precepts of Islam is to facilitate and not complicate things for human beings. Here we are living with ease, we are living normally, without any difficulty, without any complication. It's an opportunity also in order to remind our dear viewers of a hadith, an important hadith, reflecting the moderation of Islam through marriage. We have made among you a nation that calls for moderation. A group of young people came to see the Prophet, peace be upon him, to ask questions regarding the act of worship that our beloved Prophet was doing. The Prophet's wives answered these questions. After hearing the answers, they considered the act of worship of the Prophet as an example to be followed, but it's and it's something that we are called to follow also. And because he is the prophet, the messenger of Allah, he was not performing plenty of acts of worship because he was a prophet, he was the messenger. When the prophet's wives were telling this group of young people about these acts of worship, they thought that these acts were not so big or so immense. Why? Because he was the messenger. He was not asked to multiply the acts of worship. So the first person said, I will fast my entire life. The second person said, I'm going to perform prayers without sleeping. And the third person said, since marriage is going to facilitate my life and is going to make me indulge in satisfying my instincts, then I'm not going to get married. The prophet, peace be upon him, heard what these three people said. He came out and asked them, did you really said this? And they answered, yes, we said this. Then the prophet decided to teach the nation moderation, and he told people, I am the most loving person to my Creator. I am the one who loves our Creator more than anyone. But the fact that I am performing acts of worship in adoration to my Creator doesn't mean that I'm going to fast my entire life without eating, without tasting the goods of this life. And me, as a prophet, I'm going to fast and then break the fast. I do both. And I pray, then I sleep. Which means that when time comes, I need to have some rest. And I get married also. So those who go astray from my sunnah are not from my nation, don't belong to my nation. Those who don't follow these precepts are not among my nation, are not considered to be among my nation. So Muslim who tries to realize or to achieve certain precepts of Islam needs to be moderated, to follow this moderated example of our beloved Prophet. Marriage, as we are speaking about this today, needs to be fulfilled, because in a Muslim society we have several components. One of the main components is the family. And this society, because of this family, the family unit is going to get bigger, is going to be enhanced. And it is meant to preserve the psychological aspect of this society and to establish balance in the society. Marriage is therefore an urgent thing in order to constitute the family, which is the first unit of the Muslim society. That's why Islam has given capital importance to the constitution of family. What do you aspire for? You aspire as a human being to have a family, to constitute a family, to have kids. The first thing that you are asked to do as a young person who wants to, if you want to be a father, is to choose the mother of your kids. Because the first step in order to raise your kids is to choose a mother, the mother of your kids, a good mother for your kids. I will give you an example. Someone came to see Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, to complain about his son. No, to complain about his own son. He came to see Umar, may Allah be pleased with him. And he accused him of being ungrateful. The son came to see Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, to defend himself. And he asked him a question. Oh, Amir of the believers, what are my rights towards my father? What are my obligations? And Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, answered, first thing, he needs to choose a mother for him, and he needs to have a good name for him, and he needs to teach him Quran. So you have three conditions, three essential things in order to be considered as a good father. And you need to fulfill these conditions in order to ask your son to be good towards you in exchange. This is the answer of Umar, may Allah be pleased with him. Then the son answered. Then the son said, none of these conditions have been fulfilled by my father. He didn't give me a good name. He didn't choose a good mother. And he didn't teach me Quran. Then Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, told the father, you have been ungrateful towards your son before your son showed ungratefulness towards you. You didn't choose a good mother for him. It's very important. Then the choice to be made is very important. What are the criteria based on which the spouse is going to choose his wife? Yes, of course, we have criteria. We have answers to everything. You have a hadith, a very important hadith in this regard. The woman needs to be married for 4 things. So these are 4 criteria that are going to be applied in order for you to choose your wife. You can ask for the hand of a woman for, first, her wealth, her good family, her beauty, and her religion. So here are 4 criteria, 4 very important criteria. The first one, as I said, is her wealth. You can get married to this woman or ask her for marriage under 4 criteria. if you wish to, if you have as a goal money, so for her wealth, then her noble family. Third thing is her beauty, because you are seeking beauty. And the fourth criteria is the fact that this woman is respecting the principles of religion and is a pious woman. So these are 4 reasons for which you are going to choose a woman for marriage. Am I going to seek the fulfillment of 4 criteria in one person, or one of these criteria are good enough to make me choose this woman? So you have these 4 criteria based on which we can choose a woman. But you have other hadiths that are explaining things. Because if you choose a woman because of her beauty alone, we have another hadith telling us, don't choose women for their beauty alone. Don't seek marriage with a beautiful woman only because of her beauty, because this beauty might put this woman on the wrong path and might make her multiply wrong deeds. What is the best criteria as Muslims, for us as Muslims? It's the pious and virtuous woman. The best woman is the pious woman, the virtuous woman, because she's going to be able to raise your kids, to take care of the family, of the house, and of her husband. That's why you have a hadith. If a pious person comes and asks for marriage and you are satisfied with their virtue, then accept marriage with this person. Here the hadith is talking about the men. About men. So if you think that this man is virtuous, is pious, then accept to get married with this man. And you need to accept and to approve to give your daughter to this man. Because if we reject this man who is pious, who is virtuous, we run the risk to make him commit corrupted acts and perversion. So that's why we need to be pleased with the virtuous characters of a man when we want to marry to get our daughter married. You need to seek a woman also who is virtuous, who is pious, because if you don't do this, then there will be problems. You will get married with a woman who is not on the right path, and this will create problems for you in the future. These are the criteria that we are going to fulfill and respect when we choose our spouse. Why do we get married? Why don't we just live together without this marriage? Because for Islam, to Islam, you need to build a family. Is it an honor for the woman, for the couple, to have marriage? Yes, of course, and it's an honor for the family. We need to have a solid family, a good constructed family, where all the members are living in a peaceful and in peace and harmony. Anyone can have sexual relationship with a woman, but Islam put conditions and criteria in order for the society to be stable, to be secured, and to give honor to the spouses. And the rights for inheritance, rights for everything that the marriage is offering. The woman is a queen in her house, and that's why marriage is honoring her. It's a gem. She is a gem in her house. Yes, it's applied for all women. A short break, please. Welcome back, dear viewers. We are broadcasting from Iqraa Studios, and we're talking about the topic of marriage with our guest, Dr. Sami Mandour, professor at Al-Azhar University. Can we recite a few verses of the Quran regarding marriage? You have plenty of verses talking about marriage, but the most important verse is the verse of the chapter of Nur. Allah, glory to Him, says, marry. It's an order from Allah Almighty. Marry, or allow marriage to your daughter for the most pious men, and for their sons for the most pious women. So it's an order from Allah Almighty to facilitate marriage for their sons and daughters, because any relation outside marriage is illicit because it creates instability in the society. And you have another verse in the chapter of Nisa, where you have from Adam, Allah has created the entire humanity. From this two people, Adam and Eve, humanity has been created in order to preserve continuity of our of mankind. In the chapter of Rum, here, Allah, glory to Him, teaches us how to preserve this stable and serene relationship within marriage. Among the signs of Allah Almighty, He has created for us spouses. Why? In order to create mercy and serenity in this within our couple. And you have another verse. The woman is like a cover for men, and men are like covers for women. we'll answer a few questions because we have already received plenty of them via mail. Gigi Hizia is asking about the choice of a spouse. I am Algerian, I'm a Muslim living in France, and I am married to a French guy who has converted to Islam. The problem is that this man is not practicing Islam. He doesn't perform prayers and he doesn't fast. And he drinks alcohol, he doesn't listen to me. And when I tell him that this is against the precepts of Islam, he just doesn't listen to me. I wear the headscarf and I practice Islam. I'm pregnant with his child. What am I asked to do in order to continue living in serenity with this man? Or is it illicit to continue living with him? Is Allah Almighty going to punish him or punish me because I'm still living with him, although he doesn't practice Islam? We're talking about a married people, so it's very important to choose correctly in order to assure that we are going to live peacefully. And since she's waiting for a child, we need to do our best in order to resolve our problems. What to do in this case? In this house, you have two people living together. A woman who says that she's a virtuous woman, she's pious, she's wearing the headscarf, and her husband isn't a pious man. Do we consider him as a non-Muslim? I'm just asking. In this case, we need to tell the wife to leave him. Or is he still a Muslim? Then we can provide advice to this man in order to put him again on the right path. We need to ask the woman if he is denying Islam or is he just not practicing enough. If he's not praying, then he's committing a sin. But we need to ask him, does he believe that what he's doing is licit or not, or illicit? If he believes that what he's doing are illicit, he believes in the illicit character of his acts, then I cannot pretend that he's not a Muslim. He is a Muslim since he knows that what he's doing is not allowed. And if we ask him, what are you still doing these things, although you know perfectly well that it's illicit, since he's smoking during the month of Ramadan, then he's not fasting. If his wife needs to ask him, are you doing this knowing fully well that this is not allowed in Islam? It's an essential question to be asked. If he believes that his acts are not allowed in Islam, then he is admitting, which means that he is a Muslim. He is a Muslim, a sinful Muslim. Then, when we have solved this question, we're going to advise the woman to do her best in order to guide her husband using her own style, her own behavior, and her patience with her husband, trying to prove to her husband that what he's doing is not doesn't belong to Islam, and then through the conversation, maybe things are going to be solved with her husband. Maybe he will recover his reasonable thinking. Her duty and role is to try and talk with her husband in order to put him back on the right path. But if he continued, if she does this, then her fate will be paradise and not hellfire. She needs to continue talking to her husband. What if he knows that Islam forbids alcohol, but he cannot quit drinking alcohol? There's no excuses. If we have the will, then we will be able to quit the bad habits. It's human, it's logical. When we have the goodwill, then things are going to be solved easily. Someone who smokes and cannot quit smoking, I think that it's easy. If he has the will and the capacity of doing so, then he's going to be able to. At least we should try, even if it's difficult to quit bad habits. At least we need to try, and we need to believe that we have the capacity to try, and we have the will to try. For instance, I want to quit consuming alcohol. The first thing that you need to keep in mind is, why do you need to quit? What are the reasons for which you are going to quit? The reasons needs to be for health reasons. For health reasons, and because Allah Almighty has forbidden that. So you need to know, why are you quitting? If we choose the second reason, then you're not going to be able to quit. But if you have the intention to quit because Allah forbids you to do it, if you have the intention to be obedient to the commandment of Allah, this intention is going to be translated into a goodwill. The first reason would be because of the rule and the commandments of Allah. The second reason would be because of your health. You need to preserve your health from this bad habit. If I consume alcohol, how am I going to stand and perform prayers? Yes, you need to keep in mind the verses of the Noble Quran. Don't get close to prayers while being in a state of while being drunk. You cannot possibly recite verses of Quran coherently while being drunk. So this woman needs to do her best in order to improve the situation of her husband and to try to resolve the problems in her family. Obligations and duties and rights are equivalent. She needs to do what she can towards her husband, and her husband, if love is still there, then he will probably change, and he will, because they are waiting for a child. And even if it doesn't change, the woman who has tried her best and who has been patient enough to try and change her husband, then she's going to be rewarded immensely. In case,
on peut aller progressivement.
in case we're not praying, we can just start. He can just start doing the minimum, and then the situation is going to be improved. If he doesn't pray, she can just teach him to pray gradually. If he doesn't behave as a good Muslim, what does this woman need to do, knowing that she's waiting for a child? We're talking about a family. We're talking about the construction of a family. She's waiting for a child. This family is waiting for the child. If she keeps this family in mind, under the condition, of course, that this husband doesn't deny Islam's obligations. So in this case, and still he doesn't perform prayers, he doesn't fast, she can stay with him, she can remain in this family, she can continue living with her husband, but she needs to try to put him on the right path every day. She shouldn't quit trying. She shouldn't lose hope, because Islam doesn't want to ruin the family unit. That's why even if the husband is not really a good Muslim, but under the condition that he's not denying Islam, then she needs to be patient. So yes, she can preserve normal relationship with him and everything, but we try to reform him, we try to change him. Now, if she cannot bear living with him anymore, if she cannot really bear the fact that that he is on this wrong path, then she can ask for divorce. We have another question. There's no way life continues between me and my husband, and we are not compatible enough. Yeah, when we talk about compatibility between spouses, is the origins, are the origins part of the compatibility, the fact that I come from a different background, a different social background compared to my husband, does this constitute an obstacle for a better life between spouses? I don't think so. Different backgrounds doesn't mean that the life is not going to be a good life. I am going to remind you of the hadith. If you are pleased with the religion and the virtue and the ethics of the person, then you need to accept to marry your daughter to this person. If the daughter accepts, of course, the marriage, then the father and the mother need to encourage this marriage, knowing that the father needs to take the opinion of his daughter in order to accept this marriage. We have the rule. We have the rule stipulating that the elder daughter needs to give her permission for the marriage, and the father needs to take permission from his daughter in order to accept this marriage.
Donc c'est la femme qui donne un ordre à son père de la marier.
D'accord. And so in some cases you have
là un petit accident dans la vie du prophète.
We have a little incident during the life of the prophet. Let's take a break, then come back.
Bienvenue, chers téléspectateurs.
Welcome back, dear viewers.
Nous parlons du couple.
We were talking about marriage in Islam and the importance of marriage in Islam. The question before the break was regarding the choice of the spouse.
Question concernant le mariage.
Another question concerning marriage, we talked about the same background of the spouses. What is the definition of origin, of background? Does it mean the same social backgrounds, or same nationalities, or same race? In Islam, all mankind are equal. And Islam doesn't take into consideration the skin color, race, or anything. We are all equal because we come from the same origin. The entire humanity has one origin. So even the Prophet confirms this fact. Peace be upon him. You are all from Adam, and Adam is from dust, is from... So we are all equal. There's no favor being done to an Arab or to a non-Arab. There's no preferences given to this or that man. The most pious, the most liked in the sight of Allah is the most pious among you. This person is a virtuous person, and as long as he's able to bear the responsibility of marriage, we need to accept to get him married to our daughter. If the parents refuse and reject his marriage request, what happens? Is their permission obligatory? Yes, of course it's obligatory. But Allah Almighty has asked this daughter to be obedient to her parents also. In case her parents reject this marriage proposal, she needs to be patient, and she needs to ask Allah to reward her and to give her another chance. I'm not saying that the daughter needs to be disobedient with her parents and just go and marry this person because he's pious or virtuous. I want to get married to do a civil marriage, but my husband wants to do a religious marriage. Now I'm faced with the objection of my husband, who doesn't want a civil marriage. Is she living in a Western society? Because if it is the case, then it's different from the Muslim countries. Here we have the ma'zoon, who is the person who will sign the marriage contract, which is a civil act, actually. Here, because the contract is symbolical of a civil act. And then this marriage is being made public after that. He starts
khutbat al-nikah,
he starts doing khutbat al-nikah, the sermon of marriage, and then he recites the sentence that is going to assure that both spouses have given their consent to this marriage. So you have the consent of the wali and the consent of the spouses and the witnesses, which are plenty of factors showing that the marriage has been made public. But in France, for instance, we don't recognize the religious marriage because we have the civil marriage. And the authorities recognize the civil marriage. We go to the municipality. Even for Muslims, civil marriage counts first in the Western society, in France, for instance. But then, if you wish to have another religious marriage and announce publicly your marriage, then there's no harm doing this. But you need to ask yourself, did the civil marriage that you have conducted fulfilled all the conditions to make your marriage a valid one? Witnesses, dowry, declaration, publicity of the marriage. If these conditions have been fulfilled, then it's fine. Even in France, I think the law punishes those who do only a religious marriage without having a contract and making this marriage a civil marriage. So if we do a religious marriage without signing a contract, marriage contract, I think it's going to be punished by the law. So for the Muslims who are in France, if you are getting married, you can fulfill the conditions of the validity of this marriage, go to the institution of where you will sign the marriage contract, and then you can go to your big family and declare publicly your marriage. But you cannot do the religious one without the civil one. Abu Bakr, two spouses don't love each other. The husband beats his wife and reminds her always that she's not beautiful enough for him. Does polygamy the solution for this, for solving their problem? You have two questions in the same time. The first question is the relation between this husband and this wife. He is insulting her. He is beating her. Allah Almighty tells us to treat our spouses with kindness, with goodness, with a compatible manner within the society. So you have to choose the best way, the best convenient manner in your society to treat your wife. How should we treat our wife? and how should the wife treat
Faites, en
her
résumé,
husband.
faites ce,
Briefly,
vous et elle, ce que réalise l'objectif de mariage,
do whatever
déjà cité
achieve
dans
the
les
goal
versets
of the
de la sourate
marriage,
où
and which is cited in the chapter of a room.
Pour quelle raison?
Why
Il a créé,
why
parmi
did
ceci, il a
Allah
créé pour vous
created
à partir
spouses
de vous-même,
for
des
us?
épouses. Imaginez que cette
For which
cette
reason?
épouse fait partie de toi-même.
Imagine that
donc,
your
vous
wife
êtes un
is a
corps
part of you,
inséparable.
so you have an
Vous êtes indissociable.
and
C'est pour donc qu'elle est un
indissociable
musulman.
body.
Vous êtes un
You
musulman, je suis un
you cannot
musulman.
be
Aimez
separated.
pour vous, aimez pour moi, ce que vous
You
aimez
should
pour vous-même.
like for yourself what you like for
Et là, on le dit
others.
pour la femme aussi.
And we tell
Et donc, là,
this is
vous
applied
voyez
for
une
your
femme.
wife
Et
also.
là, la femme et la femme et le mari et la femme en même temps.
Here you have a
Tout ce qui
couple,
réalise
you have the wife and
calme,
the husband. Anything that will achieve affection, that will achieve serenity, that will achieve kindness is recommended
voire même obligatoire.
and even obligatory in a marriage, in the marriage house. Then we have
Les hommes même,
love,
c'est pas quand on
kindness,
insulte,
and affection.
c'est
When
tout à fait
we
contradictoire
indulge
à
in
l'islam.
insulting,
Normalement,
we are doing something that is
les
totally
musulmans en général, ils
contradictory
croient
with Islam, because Muslims
honorer la
are
femme.
not
En plus,
allowed
l'islam
to
honorer la
use
femme. En plus,
insults.
c'est ta femme à toi.
C'est ta femme.
Et en plus,
He
c'est la
has
mère de tes enfants. En
she's
plus,
the mother of your kids. She is the one who is feeding you. She is the one who is cooking your food. She's the one who is
et là, vous avez un hadith très important.
sharing your bad and good moments.
À l'homme en particulier.
The Prophet has advised
لا يفرق
men
مؤمن
in
مؤمن.
particular,
C'est-à-dire un homme croyant,
telling
donc là, la
them
condition, pour que
a
ce soit
believer,
croyant.
a
Un
believer
homme croyant ne doit jamais
should
être
not
injuste à l'égard
be
de sa
unjust
femme.
towards his wife.
Pourquoi?
Why?
إن رضي إن كره منها خلقا
If he dislikes
رضي
something
منها آخر.
from her, he might be satisfied with another of her characteristics.
Tous les défauts du monde.
Even if your wife has
On parle
all
de l'être humain,
the
nous avons les
the-
bons côtés et nous avons les mauvais côtés.
the bad characteristics,
Nous avons les défauts.
she might have one good aspect in her personality. Then just focus on this good aspect and don't keep looking and keep focusing on her bad aspects. If you have discovered a mistake or a bad doing from your wife, just think that of the good things that she has offered to you. So you need to remind yourself of the positive aspects in your marriage. There's another part also. He doesn't like her physically. He says in his question that he doesn't like her physically anymore. Can we take a short break first, please? Welcome back, dear viewers. Before the break, we were discussing the question of the husband who doesn't like his wife anymore. He is not pleased with her physically anymore. Yes, it happens sometimes. But the husband needs to think quite well and needs to remind himself of the good moments he spent with his wife in the past. But even if problems remain, he shouldn't mistreat
Donc, il ne faut pas maltraiter
his
sa
wife.
femme.
He shouldn't be harsh. He shouldn't be
C'est elle
insulting.
qui pose la question de la polygamie. C'est pas lui.
She is asking about
Est-ce qu'elle a
polygamy.
cru que la polygamie,
Does she think
va
that
être une
polygamy
solution
is
pour
going
son
to
mari?
be a solution for
si
her
celui qui
husband?
pose la question, ça peut être justifiable. Mais c'est la
If
femme qui
he
pose la
was the
question.
one asking
Pourquoi
the
elle pose la
question,
question?
that would
Parce
be
qu'ils ont déjà discuté le problème.
that would be
Et
understandable.
ils ont,
But
proposé
apparently, since she is the one
polygamie
asking
comme
about
solution
polygamy at a solution,
pour garder
then
la famille.
maybe they have already
même temps,
discussed
Ne pas avoir
about
recours au divorce.
Par exemple,
this aspect of things and thought that this would be a good solution. I think that problems are going to occur even more
de se marier encore une fois pour,
because she's
remédier à
thinking
certaines
that
fautes
if he
qu'il va,
gets married
des
another
femmes.
time, then maybe
Comment
he will stop insulting her, maybe he will stop being bad towards her.
les mauvaises qualités corporelles de femme, de sa femme,
He needs to think.
vont l'empêcher d'être juste à l'égard de cette femme.
He needs to think about the justice that the lack of justice
Pour
regarding his treatment towards his wife. Does he really think that the fact that she is not beautiful anymore, or she's not physically satisfying anymore? Does he think that this is giving him enough excuses to mistreat his wife?
La monogamie et pas la polygamie.
The essence of marriage is monogamy and not polygamy. Polygamy is, of course, allowed in some cases, such as if the marriage is, if certain things that the spouse or that the husband is wishing are not fulfilled. For instance, if certain conditions needs to be fulfilled to allow polygamy. But in our case, in this case that we are discussing, we're talking about a mistreatment, and this is totally disliked. You need to be sharing everything. You need to. But marriage is sharing. Marriage is about harmony. Marriage is about justice expressed by the husband towards his wife. So when we treat polygamy and we allow polygamy, and even in polygamy, the husband needs to be just between his wives. What are the conditions for polygamy to be to take place? Justice. He needs to be just. So this solution that they have discussed doesn't mean, even if it happens, even if he gets married to another woman, doesn't mean that it will solve everything, because he needs to be just still towards his first wife.
Les mauvais caractères de son mari. Est-ce qu'elle doit patienter ou bien est-ce qu'elle doit...
What is she asked to do? Should she remain patient? Do you advise her to talk to her family, to her parents? Patience. Because patience is going to lead us to paradise. So if the wife is patient in front of the bad behavior of her husband, then she is going to be rewarded with paradise. If life has become completely unbearable for the wife, and her husband doesn't want to divorce, can she get detached and use the khula in order to get divorce? Here,
Mais l'homme aussi peut donner à sa femme le droit de divorcer.
The husband can have the right to divorce, but he needs to give the right for his wife to get divorced. We say that the isma is in the hands of the husband. Yes, but he should also give her divorce whenever she wants to get divorced.
Premier moyen pour que la femme rompe les relations de mariage.
Pour ne pas donner la dette à la fin?
C'est autre chose. La dette ou bien la dot.
Sometimes the husband doesn't want to give her divorce in order to not be obliged to pay the to pay the delayed dowry, the muakhar.
Donc vous avez plusieurs à la femme, il y a trois choses.
We have three things.
L'homme, le mari donne à sa femme
the husband needs to give the right for divorce to his wife.
Donc, il n'y aura pas de
so in this case, he doesn't have to pay anything.
Okay.
It's not, of course there are some things to be fulfilled, but we're not talking about this now. The second path is the juridic divorce, which means that the wife is going to intend procedure in order to get divorced. She's going to see a judge and tell him that she can no longer live with her husband, because giving him, of course, the reasons for her request. She has to, of course, prove that her husband is not, for instance, treating her well or is being unjust towards her. And then you have the khula, which is to be detached completely from her husband. And in this case, the woman is going to ask her husband to divorce her in exchange to a certain amount of money, or in exchange to repaying her husband the dowry. So she has the right to use these three means. She's and in the third using the third mean will allow her to get the divorce in exchange for a certain amount of money, or paying the dowry to her husband. And we have a story that occurred during the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, when a woman came to see him and told him that she can no longer live with her husband, and he asked her, give him back his garden. The garden here means whatever he has paid for the woman before marriage. It's very simple. There are so many details in this regard, but this is briefly how to explain the fact that Islam gave the woman many means and ways in order to be divorced, as long as she cannot bear living or support living with her husband anymore. And she can get rid of this marriage if, in case the marriage relation is no longer bearable. We're going to, of course, continue talking and bringing these topics in the coming episodes. Yusuf is asking, may I get married to my cousin knowing that my my brother was breastfed by her mother. So I want to have an answer to this question. It's a very complicated question because when we talk about breastfeeding, we have a hadith saying that breastfeeding makes illicit any marriage relationship. But we need to ask him many questions in order to provide him with a correct answer. That's why he needs to go to visit an expert, an imam, and tell him the exact story, who did what and with whom, in order to be provided with a good answer. I was breastfed by this woman, and all the descents of this woman are going to be illicit to me, for me. If another member of the family of this woman was breastfed from my mother, all the descendants of my mother are going to be forbidden for others.
Si elle a tété, donc toutes les descendants de l'autre partie lui sont interdits.
Donc ils seront frères et sœurs.
Et les autres non.
And they will become sisters and brothers in this case.
Donc les pères, les mères, les oncles, les femmes, toutes les
please go slowly. If I have breastfed, if I was breastfed, my brother my brother can marry the daughter of this woman.
Mais vice versa. C'est par exemple la fille ou bien le fils de l'autre femme qui a été ma mère. Et j'ai des filles, des sœurs. Toutes mes sœurs doivent être interdites pour lui et pas pour les autres.
But if the son was breastfed from another woman, then all the daughters of this woman are forbidden to marry the brothers of that son. That's what I'm saying. It's complicated, but that's why I'm asking him to go and visit an expert and tell him the story in details in order to tell him the story and be provided with a good answer. We give generalities, but we cannot give him the correct answer if he doesn't give the details of the story.
Malheureusement, le temps qui nous est consacré pour cette émission est terminé, mais
we
en 10 secondes.
Have reached the end of this episode, but can you tell us in 10 seconds, and to those who want to get married, what are your advice? First of all, choose correctly, choose before marriage, and try to fulfill certain procedures, one of which is to choose to have a good choice and to keep in mind all the commands of our beloved Prophet concerning the choice of your spouse. Then you need to think quite well. Think, choose, and obey to the commandments of our beloved Prophet. Dr. Sami Mandoor, thank you very much for being with us. We are going to treat this topic again later on. Thank you very much, dear viewers, for being with us, and we will meet you again very soon. May Allah bless you.
Fatawa.